Anyway, so we are here at the salvage company because the card we got from the Lucky Star Motel, as Brothers Salvage in Santa Monica, that was from the Slasher quest, which is also the Bail Jumper quest, and we're about to find out what that's all about. Oh yeah, it's storming now. Hopefully we don't lose power. It's been... Oh Jesus, what the hell was that? Okay, that was new. That might be a patch edit thing? Huh. Anyway, yeah. We should be okay. I haven't had too many problems with power loss lately, but... knock on wood. Okay, I think this is patch added. I remember going back up to the shack where the drug dealers slash explosive dealers were, and there was a hostile dog there. If we let that dog out, it'll attack us. Oh, okay. Now this is something you gotta watch for because stuff that lands on you will kill you outright. And I think if it hits you, it still does a lot of damage, so you need to be mindful of that. In fact, I think the bottom edge of this car still does like weirdly high damage if it shifts while you're crawling under it. This game absolutely has all the physics. So yeah, our fella here is really enjoying that super strength here. Oh boy. He's clearly been setting an ambush, expecting someone to come looking. Do we squeeze past? Ugh, ow, 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 ow! Fuck. Okay, bad idea. Which way? Oh, man. Did I... Crap, did I screw myself? I think I did. Oh, maybe not. There we go. All is good. Definitely didn't just bone myself for the fight or anything. Yeah, took more blood heal. Hey, buddy. Been looking for you.
Back off, vampire! Stay the fuck back! I did nothing to you!
Tell me why you did it.
What the hell do you care? I don't give a damn if you understand.
Why'd you have to make your nature known? Couldn't you just stab them?
You think your bullshit vampire rules mean a goddamn thing to me? Nothing matters to me.
So yeah, if we talk to some other people about this, they'd have certain things to say. Tongue in particular would point out that this guy is making obvious masquerade violations, and eventually the Camarilla would make an example out of him. But yeah, don't you want someone to know your story? Tell me.
My family, my children were butchered by small-time criminals just looking to rob a house, steal a car, take whatever. No sense to any of it. No plan, no ransom, just kill them because why? Because they were there, in the way?
There's probably nothing he could have done.
Not one of them paid. My whole family dead, my life gone. I'm supposed to let that happen?
These murders were your revenge?
Revenge? Justice? Whatever you want to call it. All I thought about is taking these evil animals, ripping them to shreds and licking their blood from my claws.
You gave in to the beast inside of you.
At least I put it to use. How many vampires have used their abilities for a just cause? At least I did something.
Right. But you better answer more. You better practice more control, or you end up answering to the sheriff.
I can't turn my back on the evil in this world.
Let's see. There was something else. There was another line where if you'd asked whether he was done killing, he said there's other people out there, and that whose sins have gone unpunished. It implies that he is fully given in to his inner beast, and he's going to keep on killing. Basically, now that he's got a taste for it, he's definitely going to have some more. He's definitely going to go kill some more. But anyway, do you think your family would be proud of how you're acting?
No. Oh, God, no. No. It's got to stop. I can't live like this. You're right. Oh, God, you're right. I'll never do it again. I swear. Forgive me.
So, yeah. Oh, this is interesting. You should go talk to some people in the last round downtown then, so we can send him to the Anarchs? This might be patch content. Let's try it. Talk the serial killer down. Got experience. Huh. Yeah, because the two options are either let him go, which I believe is a risk of a masquerade violation, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think you do get humanity if you pass that persuasion check. Or you kill him, in which case it's a boss fight. So I guess the patch added a third option, and we'll see if the Anarchs can actually do something with him. Anyway, that wraps up all else we've got to do down here. So now into downtown.
Where to?
We've got some information to get from Strauss about the gargoyle. We got to get paid for the food critic job. Oh. What's interesting here is the elevator doors are still open because the world state was preserved from when I last left it. So I left before the elevator doors, so when I return, technically no time has passed. So if you're quick, you can get back in the elevator before the doors close, and it's because it's opening from the time you went to the lobby. Just a fun little detail. Anyway. Here we go. Email. Tommy Flayton's review. Here we go. I recently read Mr. Flayton's scathing review of the Cavaletti Cafe in the Sun, and I must tell you that I am extremely happy with his conclusions. You have done well. Please accept the payment I've left in your mailbox. We will no doubt be seeing each other soon. Right on. Thank you, sir. Your money is appreciated. You gotta take on side gigs where you can. Like in real Los Angeles, one job is not enough. Certainly not for where we're living now. Especially if you want to afford, like, assault rifles and combat shotguns and such. Also, technically, we're not on salary. Like, which I think is... You'd think that's something they would sort out if we're going to be formally working for this guy. But, you know. He's a Ventru and a tightwad on top of that, so... What can you expect, right? Larry, I need to load up. Damn. That's right, we gotta go to Mercurio for combat shotgun ammo. Yeah, well. Alright. We'll be making use of the crossbow there. It does reasonable damage, but there are better long-range options. And the projectile is noticeably slower than anything else you could use. And unfortunately, the section to come, we're going to need weapons with a pretty good rate of fire. I'm just going down to the last round to check and see if our friend showed up. You know, I just realized this means that the bartender has a bunch of customers that don't actually drink. They just stand around here and presumably follow people out and go get blood. That's gotta be a little not great for business. I feel like at some point you'd realize that these people are not paying customers and would probably have to just learn to stay out of their way. I mean, what else can you do, really?
Hey,
They're
kid,
fucking
what's
vampires.
going on? Sure thing, kiddo. Fire away.
Let's see.
That's us, so I'm told. What do you want to know?
Let's see. Nope, nothing new.
Moving right along. What's on your mind?
Alright. Nothing else. We'll see if it comes up later. It is kind of an interesting little... It is a little interesting divergence from how the quest usually wraps up. Because it's a pretty tricky fight. I think he goes war form in that fight, and you pretty much need big guns to bring him down. or you need to be a pretty burly fighter yourself. Like, you saw how I barely survived the fight against Chastity. He would absolutely destroy me. But anyway, the main thing we're here for is Strauss. Again, in hindsight, it's a nice little clue that the Gargoyle book is in his library, and this is where you get more information about them. And as I've already mentioned, gargoyles are themselves vampires in here. Essentially, I don't know if it went into details. My understanding is they're basically just varying bits of vampires that have been crushed into a malleable form and then reconstituted specifically by the Tremere. So they're understandably pissed off about their creation, but they decided to take it out on basically everybody and don't recognize distinctions in the factions.
Hello, neonate. How can I be of assistance?
You have a few minutes to talk with me?
Of course.
I have a question for you about gargoyles.
Gargoyles? Why are you asking about gargoyles?
It seems that one lives in an old theater in Hollywood. I have some questions.
What can I tell you about them?
What is a gargoyle?
A gargoyle, put simply, is a creature that was created to protect the Tremere clan in the early years of our existence. They are very powerful, and not to be trifled with.
The Tremere created them?
Yes. We used our extensive knowledge of blood magics to create a race of protectors. They served that purpose well, but they have also caused many problems. It's a complicated issue.
Let's see. Just how complicated?
Well, many gargoyles still serve their Tremere masters, but a number of them have since rebelled and gone into hiding. They are a sentient race, but ultimately unfit for the freedom they desire. They need the guidance of their former masters.
I see. If you need to get rid of one, how do I do it?
With much difficulty, I'm afraid. Gargoyles are notoriously resilient. Their hides are made of stone. Firearms will be almost useless. Blunt force is the only thing they understand.
Yeah, so that's why we got the sledgehammer. This thing is basically immune to gunfire and most weapons, and also most disciplines. I think a few spells do work on it, but otherwise you're basically down to either beating on it with your fists or using the sledgehammer, which we will give a try. But yeah, a few more questions about gargoyles.
What can I tell you about them?
There's a secret with this one, implied by that blue option there. Come on, Max, you're not telling me about this gargoyle.
Yes, I know something of gargoyles, and of this gargoyle in particular. I had hoped that he would meet his final death, but it seems my creation still lives to torment me.
Wait, your creation?
Yes. Many years ago, I created this gargoyle to protect the Chantry from our enemies. He was a faithful servant, and saved my life more than once. Unfortunately, he became increasingly upset about his role as my protector, and wished to be set free. I refused to do so. Finally, he stole away into the night, and I haven't seen him since.
I see. Well, Isaac Abrams has asked me to get rid of the gargoyle.
Isaac Abrams? His disrespect for the Camarilla is surpassed only by his hatred of LaCroix. If he finds out, it will be a source of great embarrassment for the clan and the Camarilla. He cannot learn that this gargoyle was my creation. Do you understand?
Completely. I'll tell no one of your secret.
I appreciate your discretion in this matter, neonate.
Good to hear. Now what do I need to do?
Here, take this. It is an ancient ward that may help you on your battle with the gargoyle. You need only carry it on your person to enjoy its protection.
Thanks. How do I best fight the gargoyle?
With much difficulty,
Okay, yeah, we went over that. Alright, see you later, Max. So yeah, interesting little detail. This gargoyle has a history with Max in particular. And that is something we can actually bring up to it and to Isaac. Now, I'm not going to, because honestly, Strauss has been nothing but civil with us, and is one of the few people we actually can trust in almost every circumstance. He does have his angle, but he's not as overtly manipulative about it. And honestly, he doesn't really try to manipulate you. He's pretty upfront about what he wants you to do. And you'll notice that where most people call you fledgling, he refers to you as neonate, which is a term that has a little more respect implied. So of all the people in the Camarilla, he's probably one of the few that is legitimately someone you can trust. Which, you know, is kind of setting a low bar. But honestly, I do like Max, and of the various characters in the game, I usually favor him.
Need a ride?
as far as factions go. Not necessarily the Camarilla per se, but I kind of prefer being loyal to him. Also, if you're a Tremere, that's how you get your own. That's how you get an upgraded haven instead of the one of the Skyline apartments. Anyway, just drive. So yeah, what he did give us is this thing. It reduces the amount of damage done by gargoyles. So this will make it a little more manageable. Although still very, very difficult. Because there is an option here to actually turn the gargoyle over and have it help the Anarchs. It's a pretty difficult speech check, and several options as well that emphasize you to be fighting the Camarilla, especially the Tremere. Because, you know, as Max mentioned, the gargoyles have a hatred of the Tremere in particular. And that kind of changes who you get the reward from. Basically, Isaac gives you more of a reward, but then you get nothing from Max. Neonate is the second stage of a vampire's life just after fledgling. Yeah, alright. Yeah, it's a little detail that kind of went by me at first, but going back later on and learning a little bit more about the world was kind of an interesting little point of distinction. Anyway, time for a rumble. You don't have to wait long.
I will smash you, crush you, tear the flesh from your bones.
Okay. Right. You must be the gargoyle I'm here to get rid of. Alright. So yeah, this thing means business. I'm going to demonstrate that your weapons will only do scratch damage to this, with a few exceptions. We can punch it, which is a terrible idea. The sledgehammer is marginally better, and it happens to be the only melee weapon that can damage it. I think possibly the arm might do it, since it's also blunt damage. Despite being a block of stone, he moves and counters reasonably quick. Ah! You'll see that dash maneuver takes out objects in the environment. We can go in here and have a bit more room to run around. Yeah, he do strong. You'll see here, yeah, he doesn't use doors. You, technically speaking, cannot be a fledgling, because that requires having a sire, and you can keep yours in an ashtray, or can you? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's kind of an open question who our sire is. Because presumably they were a person, like LaCroix called them, like an upstanding member of our society or something like that. Ah, shit, okay. I think we need to Dark Souls this and get close, but not too close. So he doesn't do his dodge move at us. Kinda need to bait him into attacking. And then back off. You'll note he's doing aggravated damage, which is a huge problem. Yeah. There we go. That's what we gotta do. Get him to attack, step back. There we go. No! Fuck me. Well played, Gargoyle. Right to the fan theory that your sire is Cain. It is an interesting theory, and it's one of those things that is trying to explain how your character rises in power, which is something that a few other characters comment on. But yeah, Cain being your sire is one of those things that doesn't really work out, although it is fun to speculate. Let's dance. I do appreciate how destructible this arena is. Just how many props there are. A lot of the time the physics in this game is kind of just for show and works out in kind of janky ways, but occasionally they use it to good effect. Ah! kind of emphasize what's happening here. Alright. There we go. Alright. I think I need to... It's a little unclear when he's guarding is the thing. And I'm not sure he is actively guarding. I think it's just kind of a random chance for him to mitigate damage. It's not too complicated to fight. It's more just kind of a slugfest because there's no real... Other than learning the signs of his attacks and dodging it, there's not a lot to think about as terms of strategy. You basically need to outlast him, outmaneuver him. It works better if... Actually, hang on a second. I do have some speed. Well, I don't know how well that works. Might find me a little more breathing room. Yeah, if Kane was your sire, you'd be a second-generation vampire. You'd be able to snap this guard over your knee like a Twix bar. Yeah, that's the other thing. It raises a few questions about like how you'd be taken out by how you'd be taken out by a bunch of shovel heads with a bat at the early stage of the game, for instance. Down he goes. Booyah! Nothing like breaking up statuary to make a man feel alive. Gargoyle? More like garg-foiled. Whatcha! You know that he's basking in the sun scene from JoJo? That'd be you. Yeah, no kidding. You would transcend the mechanics of this game. Like, one of my favorite bits of lore fluff is that the rules for fighting Kane are literally just you lose. I think it was originally like... I think it was like you lose or God stops you. Those are the only two options. Yeah, they're specifically trying to avoid the Lord British thing, where if you stat a character, someone will figure out some janky way of killing them.
Any luck?
Anyway, situation resolved. Killed the gargoyle.
I admit, I thought you'd come back here with a stone foot lodged in your backside, but I'm glad to see you've proved otherwise. You've got a lot of promise. It's a shame you're still working full-time for the wrong side.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, I got nothing against the Anarchs, philosophically speaking, but eh.
I'd like to hope so. Well, if you'll excuse me.
More that some of them don't necessarily make the best case. Oh, he does have stats. Interesting. That I did not know. I assume it'd probably be maximum in all things, or possibly above the maximum. And, you know, as the vampire progenitor, I'd assume he'd have access to all disciplines. Also to insane levels. I had heard that there was, like, some really obscure scenario that did involve killing him.
Hop in.
But it involved all the antediluvians and Lilith, or something insane like that. Which feels like something someone had to homebrew just to make even remotely possible. To abbreviate the stats, no U +1. Yeah, that sounds about right. I would believe that's in writing. Anarchist ideology is like nuclear fusion. Yeah, I can see that. Hey, Wizmander, welcome to the channel. Sounds great if anybody could actually try it. Quite. But yeah, good to have you here. Hope you're having a nice day over there.
Hello,
evening, if appropriate.
mate. How can I be of assistance?
One of Kane's properties is that he has every discipline at 10 and create new disciplines at a whim, granting them to himself at 10. Yeah. Basically, he's the GM and the World of Darkness is his campaign. Anyway.
Of course.
Gargoyle's been dealt with.
You did. That's quite an accomplishment for one so young, neonate. And with discretion as well. Again, you impress me.
Just doing what I feel is right.
And your efforts are well appreciated. Please accept this gift.
Oh, thanks, Wizmander. I appreciate that. Good to know people are watching.
The clan appreciates your confidentiality.
Cool. See you, Max. So yeah, for our discretion, we get this thing, which is a totem that gives us a bonus to dexterity. Very handy, that. So we can still put points in it, but we essentially have a permanent bonus to it, which is reflected down here. Or actually, is it? Oh, no, that's our armor protection. Never mind. So I guess we just... That's odd. You know what? I remember it having a... I remember that dot filling in blue to reflect that it had been buffed. I'm gonna run to my item box real quick and drop it in and out, just to be sure. I prefer the Lady of Pain. Understandable. Most do. But yeah, that's kind of the fun thing about this game from a lore perspective, because this was undoubtedly a lot of people's entry point to the World of Darkness. It certainly was for me. And I wouldn't say it sparked an interest in the tabletop game, but it did spark an interest in the property. And I think this game does a fair representation of the politics and the lore of the setting, and it gives an interesting perspective for... it works largely because your character is new to the setting themselves, and has to have this stuff explained to them. But you also get the sense that not a lot of people have all the answers themselves. Like, most of the vampires don't know that Cain is real. Most of them don't know that the curse is mystical and not necessarily something that is natural. This is indeed the game with Fat Larry. Hey, L-Star Media, welcome to the channel. We have indeed dealt with Fat Larry. It could have been this or Redemption, so consider yourself lucky. Quite. Alright, anyway, let's drop a few things off. I wanna... let's see... Effect lost, dexterity +1. Take, dexterity gain.
Takeoff welcomes you, Nerevar, my old friend.
Okay, it might have been a mod thing. Because... hold on a second. I'm gonna put that in there real quick. Okay, no, it updates the stat itself. Okay, so it doesn't affect the cost. So the game acts like I have a dexterity stat of 3, but for practical purposes, the cost is still whatever the third level would be. Alright. So, good to know. In fact, let's see... might as well bump that up and bump that up. Damage soak is going to be an issue. We gotta hold on to as much blood as we can. How we doing on cash, anyway? Reasonable. Oh, that's right. I was gonna load up my combat shotgun shells, because that we're going to need. Very soon. Played Redemption before this, and knew of VTM before Redemption, and oh boy. Yeah. I'm still kind of amazed that Redemption has people still modding it and still trying to make something out of it. I actually do remember seeing boxed copies of it, and it's one of those things where it makes an interesting back-of-the-box pitch, because I remember one of them is very prominently a lineup of some vampires, and one of them has like a minigun or something, and that's an image that kind of sticks with you, because it's something you don't expect. You know, coming in with no knowledge of the World of Darkness whatsoever. And that makes me think better about it than obviously the game itself can deliver. So it probably is... that probably did get some people to just make it a... impulse try it. But definitely glad that Bloodlines was my first proper exposure to the series. Minigun is in the game. It's even a good weapon as long as you're not the one using it. Oh, man.
My fix. When I went up to the top of the tower, I could hear LaCroix shouting from down the hall. Seems pretty disturbed about this.
One of those weapons, I gotcha.
Glad I'm not wrapped up in it.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Anything I can do for you tonight?
I need to load up. Here we go. We can get more of this. We're gonna need it, too. Issue with automatic weapons is the player or character. You have to click to fire each bullet. No, you cannot just hold the button down. However, your companions have no such restrictions. Oh, God. Oh, that reminds me of Arcanum, where automatic weapons in that game were basically just burst fire things or single fire. It was more just whether the rate of fire allowed you to spit more than a few shots out in a turn. And again, that's a case where the idea of it is much cooler than the reality. Which is a shame. You know, it's a good thing that game had other things going on. But I can see why people would bounce off it. Pretty far, actually. I have, I believe, about 12 episodes of this up so far. I usually break them up into 3 one-hour chunks afterward. Anyway, we'll turn in the quest for Vivi here.
Look who's back.
Velvet.
Please, call me Vivi.
Okay, right, Vivi. Anyway, about Hatter.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the screenplay.
Oh, I suppose I should just tear it up. But I can't. I can't rip up the product of that man's soul. Here, would you tear it up for me?
Okay, fine.
Thanks.
I found out the name of his source.
Are they? I mean, did you?
It's taken care of.
It must have been difficult. But take some comfort in knowing if you hadn't, someone else would have had to. I do appreciate your help. A lot.
How much did you appreciate it? Or
Yeah.
do you appreciate it?
It's not a lot. But it should be enough to buy ourselves something a bit more appropriate for a personal acquaintance of velvet velour.
Nice. See you around, Vivi. Alright, now, since our seduction is low, if your seduction is high enough, she'll be more flirty in her dialogue and think I think she'll actually follow up with emails and just going like, "Oh, you did me such a great favor. We're so in love. Here, have some poetry." And you know, it's not very good poetry, I should point out. But, you know, the club assuredly did not hire her for her literary prowess. She writes poetry, yeah. I'm waiting for Vivi to get a hug and reassure conversation option. I know, seriously. What do we gotta do, people? That is... Actually, I'm gonna go back in because we need to top off. And she does have some high-quality options available, let's say. Yeah, seriously. So, she needs a hug and to know that it's all gonna be okay. And again, I do like the ambiguity there, and that there's always the possibility that she's just, like, coyly tricking you into doing her dirty work. But the VA is so good that she genuinely seems like she might care about the player, even if it's questionable. Even that's literally her job to be a seductress. Anyway, Miss!
Hey there, handsome. My name is Misty. Can I interest you in a private dance? I've got something special in mind, just for you.
What a coincidence. I was just thinking the same thing.
Great. Now all I need from you is $100, and then we can go back and get things started.
Double the money, double the potency. Here you go, here's a C note.
Okay. Now follow me back to the private rooms, and we can get a little more comfortable.
Also, love the janky physics there. Just
Yeah.
the way any loose bits just spaz out whenever they hit something that they don't intend to, or just when the model comes to a start or stop. Again, the jank just adds to the charm.
There we are. Now, what would you like me to do? I just love a man who tells me what he wants and how he wants it.
I have a special request for you. I need you to hold perfectly still. And, by any chance, you washed your neck recently, right? Just asking. I have a thing. There we go. Actually, that's not all that different from the prostitutes you can hire out on the street. I remember that being a little bit better. I've been bamboozled. Very well, I will take my business elsewhere. I know, isn't it great? This game is peak 2004. It is just such a... Excuse me. It is just such a perfect time capsule of a game that also has aged perfectly. Anyway, anything else? No, I believe we're done with side quests. So, key to the internet cafe. That's the next place. That's the next stop. Aw, thanks, Alstar. I appreciate that. That's honestly what I hope to do, because I know some people, some just stream themselves, and some are busy with other things, and people got stuff to do. There's only so many hours in the day, so I try to put them up there for people who can't make it. So it's always appreciated to know that people are tuning in and people are enjoying it. The best thing about Redemption is that it takes place both during the Dark Ages and Modern Nights, with a cast of characters that partially exist in those time periods. Oh, they kind of pull a Phantasy Star on that. That's cool. That is something that is interesting. Exploring the passage of time and characters that age realistically and see society change realistically. That's definitely something a vampire game should do. Because, yeah, having to radically change your gameplay as new things are invented would be fascinating. Anyway, on to the Internet Cafe, where things have happened. Not that we know this at the time. Although, there was one computer over here that, get on here. Let's see. Alright. Dude, my Prussians totally rushed your Franks last night in Eurocraft. Plan the night? Also, that girl that sits next to me in science talked to me today. She totally wants me to do her. There's one email in particular I'm looking for. Dude, your mom. Your mom! Psych, your mom. What are you doing to me, Tupacula? I said cover me, not die like a little bitch. One more foobar and you're out of the clan. Oh god, thrill ho. Oh god. Sethiroth. Okay, cards on the table here. I actually had a username, Sethiroth, for a forum way back in my, like, high school years, or, like, shortly after Final Fantasy VII came out. I went through a phase. I'm not proud of it, but yeah, I'm just leaving that out there. I'm clean now. I'm back. I'm good, baby. It's all done. It's all done. Anyway, I love this one here. I just straight snatched the new Troika game. If you hacksaw the code, you can unlock Clan Chocula. Oh man, that would be a fun little mod edition. Just run around in this cartoon vampire. It's all the only vampire game I could think of where if you have a playable segment with your character before you get vamped. That's a neat idea. That's something the only game I can remember doing that was the first Legacy of Kain, where you have that short sequence at the start before Kain gets killed. And I thought that added kind of an interesting little point of contrast. It made the secret sections to follow a little more impactful, because it shows you as just a normal human trying to defend yourself and eventually getting overwhelmed. That is definitely something that can be done more often in games like this. Anyway, so we got some interesting details here. So we got some girl in Japan writing to what appears to be an exchange student. Yeah, America must be so coolest. You weren't Hollywood? Are you in a movie? Love, Ayako. President Kenta and I ate okonomiyaki of Yokohama. That extremeness was tasty. What is eaten in America? Okay, this is pretty accurate English, let's say. Our Americans have long legs. You date American boy. Is the image sent? It is happy. This is definitely some ESL typing here. Completely forgot about that one. For some reason, remember it being as just a cutscene. Yeah. Every cool game or movie needed to have hacking involved somehow. Exactly. Here we go. This week I go to the hot spring where my family has been attached. I'm excited very. Which, when we are the child, is Yukie, which is the friend to us remembered. She is also inquire about thing in America. Is the pleasant time past? Send many images due to me. Ayako. So, it's speculated there is a Yukie that you meet later in the game, and it's a common theory that this is who they're referring to. It's never really proven. There's nothing. When you talk to her, she is not in no disposition to discuss her family and friends. But it's one of those things where the game might be foreshadowing something. Anyway, so we got the key to this place.
Good evening to you.
And into the back room we go. Now you know that the masquerade icon has changed to a combat icon. Oh boy. You may recognize this thing. It's what we saw in the snuff video. They are nasty, they are fast, and they are dangerous. You see they're doing aggravated damage. There's a couple over there. Oh, Jesus. Ah. Your main advantage is that they are very susceptible to damage if you can hit them. You can see even pistol fire knocks them back. And it is easy for them to get caught up on props and things in the environment. But if they do close in on you, they can do a lot of damage in not a lot of time. So yeah, we'll probably want to switch to the sledgehammer here. Yeah, they aren't just writing in Japanese to each other. That would be a nice touch, and I think that was probably something that would have made a bit more sense. They wanted it to be equal to the character. Is that what these things are? I don't know if they ever got a name in-game. Salakta. That's some vampire-ass naming. But yeah. Remember that Tremere loading tip I mentioned? Or Zamishi loading tip? That's where these things are coming from. More on them when we get there. But yeah, these are nasty little buggers, and by no means the only thing that is going to be an obstacle. Or, by no means the only monster we're going to be dealing with on this quest. I jump through. Bollocks. It's a Samichi ghoul. The term is Slavic for nobility. Oh, interesting. Ah. Well below the lock difficulty there. Alright. So yeah, Deathmask Productions has been hiding their production studio back here. You see their film studio has gotten noticeably more bloody. Even more monsters started showing up. We are assuredly in the right place. So let's see if we can find this tape rafter.
Oh, Jesus, man, what the fuck is going on up there?
I feel like that name was chosen ironically.
Oh, God. Shh. Don't make any noise. They'll hear us.
Who are you? You work for DMP?
Yeah, I mean, no. Fuck it. Yeah, I'm with DMP. You 5-0?
What the hell's going on? Those are the same creatures on your tape.
Yeah, I know, but we didn't make that shit. One of the guys stole it, found it in the creepy house in the hills. We just copied it and put our names on it. Worse than anything we ever did. Worst thing I ever saw.
Yeah? What the hell goes on? What goes on down here? Parcheesi?
Some of it, yeah, it was bad, but no one ever really mattered. Junkies, runaways, mostly doing them a favor.
Yeah, real charming. Yeah, this must be what they call poetic justice.
Please, just get me out of here. Oh no! Ah!
And convenient plot death. No one's gonna miss him. I almost wish we could let that critter go. I feel like he was doing that critter, if anything, was doing the world a favor here. But sadly, it's not in a talking mood. Yep, exactly. But yeah, the change in atmosphere is actually pretty subtle and also pretty impressive. I think in the unmodded game, once you come in here, it has that ominous combat music at first, like right away, you know something is wrong and everybody's kind of running around panicking. In this, it changed as soon as we stepped... It changed after we had gone into the locked door, and that's when the creatures attacked. A subtle but important difference. Anyway. Booyah! We got a complete horror tape. So you get the sense that someone is sending these creatures out specifically to silence people and stop them from asking too much about the tape. The creatures you meet later are called Vajj, or sometimes war ghouls. Interesting. So yeah, these things are pretty much the reason why you want to have at least some close combat skill. Because they will absolutely ruin a gun bunny's day unless you get very lucky and draw bead on them or you spend a ton of ammo. Anyway, out we go. Hey, Orange, good to see you. We'll be wrapping up shortly. I'm just going to finish up this quest and save before we head to the next plot location. Version of the Slavic term can be roughly translated as leader or chieftain. Oh, interesting. So they're they're basically rank names. They're kind of indicating the level of. They're indicating the relative importance of the creature. Fair enough.
Any luck?
All right. Yeah, those things on the tape, they're real.
Then this is no doubt the work of a fiend. Hand me the tape. There might be something on it that will give us some insight into what its motives are.
Alright, so there's not a lot more to the tape that we didn't see, mostly just where this place is.
Huh? What's that? Oh!
So yeah, that's where the tape started before.
Help me, please, please.
So, basically, we can expect a lot more of those where they came from. Yep. Particularly because the Vajra lobotomites cannot actually lead anything.
It's in the hills. King's Way, if I'm not mistaken. My guess is that the fiend that made this tape is using these creatures to hound the Nosferatu, which would explain their sudden absence. They're trapped.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's unfortunate that the prince needs you to see the Nosferatu, because it looks like this fiend knows how to get at them, and I doubt he's going to draw a map for you. Looks like King's Way is your only way in, unfortunately.
Alright, guess I'll head to King's Way. Thanks, Isaac.
I can have a car drop you off when you're ready. If I don't hear from the Nosferatu within the next few nights, I'll tell LaCroix he's going to need a new leading man, and march a few of my own troops up the hill to finish the job.
Thanks, you're all heart. I'll take a cab.
If I may give you one final word of warning, do not trust LaCroix. Do not play the damned politics of the Camarilla. This city hasn't needed them in a long time, and won't ever.
If it wasn't required by the plot, I wouldn't, but it's how it is. Anyway, I'm done here. Right. So the next leg of the plot is going to be more combat heavy, and we will get to that next time. I believe we have taken care of all the side business in town. And this is where we start getting into the less interesting parts of the game, because it's essentially one long combat sequence after another, and you can just kind of feel them struggling to pad things out. And, you know, some of them are actually kind of interesting, because, you know, you have to get down to the Nosferatu. That would invariably involve going through the sewers anyway, but it's just kind of a shame that it is leaning away from the social aspects that mostly are what make the game interesting. Still, we're well kitted and we're well geared up, so it shouldn't be too bad. The worst part of it is not knowing it's coming. Once you know it's there, you can mitigate some of the problems with it. One of the game are pretty small. Standard Vajra is assumed to weigh approximately 4 to 5 metric tons, and is strong enough to use vehicles as improvised or ranged weapons. Oh boy. You do see some creatures later on that are essentially mini-bosses that kind of fit that category. But, yeah, we're dealing with mostly flunkies for the time being. But yeah, that'll do it for the night. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone coming. Glad to see other fans of this game still enjoying it 20 years on. Thanks so much for the follows and such. Oh, and no stream next week. I will be out in I will be on vacation in Alaska, so I will see you all the following week. Most likely we'll be getting back to Baldur's Gate 3 with the co-op team. So yeah, have a good night everyone, and see you next time.